Thank you for joining us today for Supervision and Leadership of Children and Youth. My name is Dr. Ken Anthony, Director of Professional Development and Research at the Connecticut After School Network. In this course, we will discuss your role as a staff person in the supervision and leadership of children and youth. As a result of this training, we hope you understand the importance of the job you hold in helping support the community you serve. The first thing we want to cover today is the course learning objectives. As a result of this training, you should have an understanding of your leadership role as a staff person, how to empower the children, what effective supervision looks like, how to effectively communicate expectations to the children, how to hold each other accountable, and how to juggle friendships and supervision. So what does supervision mean? Let's look at these as two separate words, super and vision. Here are the definitions from the Webster Dictionary. Super being over and above, higher in quantity, quality, or degree than. Vision being the act or power of imagination, a mode of seeing or conceiving. When you put these two together, you get an essential skill that out-of-school time providers need. Working with children requires us to be able to be 10 steps ahead, to see the risks, and be able to facilitate and guide the group you're working with. In short, supervision is the act of being able to see what's coming and guide children toward the vision of what could be. When I've done this training in the past, people could name lists of things they don't like about staff. Someone who is late for work, not a team player, etc. In my time at the YMCA, I came to notice there are key qualities of a staff person that can help make positive change. They are someone who knows the job, contributes to the team, has a commitment and responsibility to the children and families served, has good communication skills, treats everyone with respect, and develops relationships that develop people. Possessing and practicing these qualities helps the program grow, helps children thrive, and helps communities come together. While the old adage about taking a village is true, each member of the village is an integral part of and contributor to the overall success of the program. When I used to interview staff for positions, I would ask them why they want the job. People would often give answers that would reveal the assumptions they brought with them about children. Think for a minute about what are some assumptions you make about the children you work with. We assume that children are energetic, curious, test limits, learn through hands-on activities, and enjoy playing in imagination. In checking the assumptions we have, it allows us to reflect on the work with the children and address any biases that we bring to the table. Our perception matters. In the next slides, there'll be 3 optical illusions. While one person may see something one way, another may find a different picture from a different angle. Think for a minute about when someone who has seen the same picture tells you about the other image. You need to take their perspective in order to see what they're talking about. The same holds true for children. So in this first slide, what do you see? You see a boat, maybe some columns, but then as you look closer, your perception starts to change. You start to see the sails in some of the other boats. Maybe they look like clouds, but you can see the sails there. It's your perceptual difference. Let's do another one. What do you see in this picture? You see a figure right near the tree? Do you see a face? The buildings? How you see the picture is how you perceive it. The same thing holds true in programs. How we perceive the children we work with matters. It makes a difference in that relationship. Let's do one last one. Let's take a look at this last picture. What do you see? Maybe a saxophone player, maybe a face, maybe both. Or now maybe you've seen both if you didn't see anything. The perception we have and carry with us matters. Being able to understand what our own perception is and how that impacts the relationships we have with children and families is what makes the difference in a quality program. So what does effective supervision of children look like? I see it more as being a guide or a facilitator. This includes these things: listening, helping children resolve conflict, using professionalism in all that you do, being engaged at all times with the children, developing youth leadership and voice. By providing the opportunity for children to lead parts of activities, help design something, giving them a voice, building positive relationships, and empowering them to help make decisions, behavioral issues naturally decrease. It is this posture that differentiates supervision from leadership. So how does leadership differ from supervision? Leaders help others grow, nurturing the individual to help them unlock their passion and potential. This could be in the classroom, fostering an interest area, or being a support to help them get through a situation. Some key differences between supervision and leadership are that a leader guides and helps people grow. A supervisor watches. A leader looks for opportunities to empower others, while a supervisor dictates orders and demands. A leader is a facilitator of ideas, while a supervisor has all the ideas and doesn't really want to hear from others. A leader inspires trust and builds relationships, while a supervisor relies on control. I've seen out-of-school time staff that thought the way to work with groups of children and youth was to show them who was in charge. This typically leads to children acting out in defiance of rules that are often imposed intermittently and inconsistently when they're even brought up. By inspiring trust and building the relationships with children you work with, you're helping them be successful in life. Research shows that children who have a caring adult in their life, family, community provider, teacher, etc., are less likely to drop out of school. Additionally, research shows that children that are engaged in out-of-school time programs have better attendance and better overall academic achievement, as well as social skills. When people think of leadership, there are often notions of what a leader looks like or does. Let's look at two differing viewpoints on leadership and how it has evolved. The traditional definition says that leadership is an interpersonal influence that's directed toward the achievement of a goal. This is basically when the leader has an idea, a vision, and says, here's how we're going to get there, and helps bring the team to that end. The 21st century definition has modified a little bit. Leadership is a dynamic relationship based on mutual influence and common purpose between leaders and collaborators, in which both are moved to higher levels of motivation and moral development as they affect real and intended change. Notice that relationships is the first thing on the list, and that mutualism and collaboration are also key parts. This growth model applies to working with children. As they're gaining skills based on what you're working with them with, you're gaining skills in how to work with children and lead groups. These leadership skills are invaluable in advancement in out-of-school time programs and other career paths. Additionally, leaders have to develop certain competencies and traits. This includes engaging others and creating a shared meaning. When you're working with the children, explaining your vision for the activity, this is the first part. Hearing their input and feedback on the idea is the second. This back and forth allows you to lay out the overall framework and helps them find their place in it. These three parts of having distinctive voice, integrity, and adaptive capacity are key in doing this. One of the things with out-of-school time is that adaptive capacity is something that we're familiar with shifting schedules during the school year, moving rooms and locations, weather issues during summer programs. Adaptive capacity is something that's needed frequently in out-of-school time programs. So how do you grow personally as a leader? There are 5 ways here listed. Emulation, so finding someone that has characteristics you relate to and ask them if they'd be a mentor for ideas, thoughts, etc. Role-taking, offer to take a lead on projects, special events, things like that. This is a great way to practice leading and listening to others. Practical accomplishment, validation, letting others know you appreciate their work and help. And personal growth, taking part in trainings like this one, webinars, etc. in the field. Leadership is about setting the tone in your program. What do you do personally to emulate the qualities you want others to follow? Take a minute and take out a piece of paper and think about these areas: role modeling, engagement, voice and choice, clear communication. How do you carry yourself at the job? Are you a team player? Do you listen to the children? What do you do to model positive relationships? Are you interactive? Are you present and engaged? Do children have a voice and choice? Do they contribute to the program? And are your expectations of vision clear? with other staff, with children, with families. What 3 things will you do immediately to emulate good leadership? Professionalism also plays a role in leadership. Are you on time? Do you come to work with food and coffee in your hand, eat snacks separate from the kids? How do you represent the organization and yourself? Your personal representation impacts program quality and your commitment to the children. Remember, you're a role model for the children, for other staff. And the passion sparks engagement. Children and other staff see your passion and will often spark their engagement and their participation in the things you're doing. Another important aspect is tempering expectations. Having clear expectations and age-appropriate activities are key to a successful out-of-school time program. So thinking, are your expectations clear? Be clear from the start, and even asking the children what they think the expectations are is a great way to reduce conflict and keep children and youth engaged. Some things to consider are: did you explain what you want the children to do in a concise manner? Are you actively involved in the work? Do you redirect inappropriate behavior, or do you ignore it? Secondarily, ensuring the activity is age-appropriate is another important consideration. Materials should be challenging and rigorous, and at the same time build off prior knowledge. Did you make clear connections to larger concepts? Did you ask open-ended questions to pique interest and try and find other ways to explore the topic? How is the learning connected between activities, weeks, and lessons? These are some ways to really get the expectations clear so everybody's on the same page right from the start. By empowering children, they become owners of the program. This helps in multiple areas, such as conflict resolution, designing and implementing programming, presenting opportunities for leadership, or having a program council. With regards to conflict resolution, programs could consider creating an atmosphere that allows space for children to work out their own conflicts with the facilitation of staff. Also, allowing children the freedom to contribute parts of an activity or develop and run a club are a couple of ways to foster voice and choice in designing programming. Also, providing opportunities for children to lead in the program is key to helping them grow as individuals. This could be club leaders or serving on a program council. The last part of supervision and leadership is looking at relationships with coworkers and some things to consider. So the first question is, how is your work-life balance? Being sure you're not putting too much time into work and being able to thrive as an individual yourself. A lot of times we make friends with coworkers. And do you hang out with them after work? Should staff be able to date and work together? If you're a supervisor, are you able to separate supervision with personal relationships with others? Going out to a restaurant after work, things like that. Does the relationship impact the quality of your work? Being unaware of this dynamic can often lead to internal conflict or tension and impact the overall quality of the program. I've seen this firsthand in many cases where staff did not get along, or staff got along really well until something happened, and then the entire program suffered because of the argument or because of the disagreement. Many organizations have policies that address some of these and other staff expectations. Be sure to check what your organizational policy is around these issues. Finally, when we take care of ourselves, we can be more available for others. In this section, we're going to discuss the importance of self-care, particularly in the areas of time and stress management. First, how well is anyone at time management? Think about your life without your calendar reminder, without notifications of an upcoming meeting. I would not be able to survive without my calendar on my phone or my computer. These are both supports to help you manage your time better. Allowing enough time on the most significant areas in your life while still accomplishing required duties. So what do you personally do to manage your time? Take a minute and think about that. Do you find yourself running from place to place? Coming into work just at the bell? What could you do better to manage your time? This is a chance to really be honest and to think about how you can let some things go or do things a little bit more intentionally. Secondarily, when talking about the importance of self-care, stress management is another critical part in helping you be successful at your job. When you're more available as a staff person because you're taking care of yourself, you're able to connect better with children and families. Some things to think about and consider are: where does the stress come from? Are you pulled in too many directions? Multitasking, other things? Some people say they can handle 5 to 6 things at a time, but really it's overwhelming. So be able to think about your stress and be able to manage that. There's also a lot of responsibility at work. Caring for children is sometimes stressful, depending on the day, depending on what's going on. Interacting with parents and caregivers, you have to tell them the good news and sometimes the bad news. Thinking about positive stress management techniques can help reduce this stress. So what type of techniques do you use? What are some areas you'd like to improve on with regards to your stress management? To recap our learning objectives, as a result of this training, you're hopefully able to understand your leadership role as a staff person. You know how to empower children and give them voice. You can discuss what effective supervision looks like and how to effectively communicate expectations to children and other staff, and hold each other accountable. And finally, how to juggle friendships and supervision and take care of yourself. Thank you for coming today. We hope you enjoyed our training and enjoy the rest of the Reboot Camp. Thank you and have a good day.